Kareem Daly suggested that I do a English B marathon. So here this is. I am Jamain Hatton, recapping the things I have talked about over the last 2 years on this YouTube channel. Let's go into this marathon. So, going into our essays, I cannot stress this enough. You have to answer each of the questions in the English B exam with an essay. It's an essay. You're not writing points down to support your answer. You're writing an essay. You're writing nice, organized paragraphs with one thing leading to something else, from an introduction right down to another paragraph to as your conclusion. All right, good. So let's go into the elements of how we structure our introduction and how do we formulate our conclusion. What I'm going to tell you, like I've told all my students in the past, use your question that they give you to guide you as to what you put in your introduction. So you don't panic too much in the exam. You know exactly how you will start your essay by using your question as a guide for your introduction. So choose two poems you have studied that deal with war, briefly describe the situation presented in each poem, and comment on how the persona responded to the ongoing situation. Finally, discuss one poetic device in each poem that brings out the theme of war. This is a question I made up just to show you here how we structure this introduction. War is a troubling phenomenon plaguing our society today. Martin Carter's This is the Dark Time, My Love and Wilfred Owen's Dulce et Decorum Est both explore war and its brutal effects on a country and people. This essay will examine the situations in these two poems. It will highlight each person's response to the ongoing situation and will discuss the poetic devices employed by Carter and Owen. That is your introduction. Introduction coming off of the question. Try to let the question guide you as to what you put in your introduction. Then, when you finish your essay, now you have to conclude. Don't just finish the essay, you must summarize what you've put in the essay. So you can start your conclusion with something like, in closing, these two poems showed us that war has a painful ability of destroying hope and lives. We saw this through Martin's description of the troubles faced by the Guyanese people in their quest for independence, and the senseless loss of lives in Owen's Dulce et Decorum Est. Is war really worth it? Question asked. Good, so we're shifting our focus now to poetry. I'll start by telling you, you cannot use short stories to answer the poetry question. You have two questions in this section. One question that gives you two poems you have to compare, and then the next question in the section will tell you have to use any two poems that you have studied, any two poems you have studied to answer the essay. Last year, when I was marking the exam, many students actually wrote an entire essay with short stories to answer a poetry question. You cannot do that, students. You will automatically get zero. Don't do it. All right? Good. So spend 40 minutes on this section. Each section you should spend 40 minutes. So if your exam starts at 9 o'clock, by 9:40, you should finish your first question that you answer in the exam. 40 minutes after that, you should finish your second question. 40 minutes after that, you should finish your third and final question. And that will give you 10 minutes to review everything you have written. Let's go into this here I have here though. What I want you to do, make a list like this here, or you can use the same list I have here, and try and identify the device, the poetic device in each of these poems. What is a device in African thunderstorm? Well, we know there's a simile there, like a plague of locusts, and we also know that there was a metaphor, pregnant clouds, and those are generally used to show how severe the situation of the storm was. So that's what I want you to do for me. Go through all of them, just like I have gone through that one there. Think of what the device is. Why is that device important? See if you understand the poem. All right, good. So think about it. This is Dark Time, My Love. Martin Carter was that poet. We know that there is repetition there. He's repeating, "This is the dark time, my love," to emphasize how the situation was a sad one, how sad the people of Guyana were when they were not able to get independence. Good, you remember that. Let's look at Dulce et Decorum Est. We know Dulce et Decorum Est, the title of that poem is ironic because they said that it was sweet and fitting to die for your country, but we can't see anything sweet or fitting to die for our country. All we're seeing is pain and the misery and the agony of death because of war. Good. God's grandeur, what happened in God's grandeur? We know generations have trod, have trod, have trod. We see repetition there. We see repetition because we are trying to show you how, for years upon years, how people have tried to destroy the idyllic beauty of the world. And for some unexplained grace, God has this way of replenishing, renewing earth. Good. So that's what I want you to do for me. Write all of them down. This is just some I can remember off my head. Go through all of them. Try and identify the device and see how much you remember from your poems. If you know one poem is a bit sketchy, that means you have to now go back and review that poem. Remember, all of these poems here are on this channel with long notes, detailed notes on all of them. So if you know you have to review that, you still have time to catch that up. You will still have time to read that. So in the drama section, you're answering one question, either the question on Tijon and his brothers or the question on the Tempest. You're spending 40 minutes to get that essay done, and you're answering the question on one, only one. You can't mix it up. I have seen that in the past where students put half of the essay on Tijon and his brothers, half on the Tempest. You cannot do that, people, please. So one essay on one of these questions. So let's try to recap the book. Tijon and his brothers, we know that we have three brothers, and they all are encountering the devil at some point in time. The older brother, Grosjean, is, my French is terrible, I know. Grosjean is an arrogant one. He thinks that his strength is enough to defeat the devil. And again, the devil here is a symbol of the white man. So the devil is really a symbol of colonization in a sense. Right? If you haven't listened to the video on Tijon and his brothers, you have time to do that. Go and check that out. So we know that because of his arrogance, he couldn't possibly have defeated the devil with just the physical strength. Then we had Mijan, the second brother, who was book smart, but he was educated by the white man. And if the white man educated him, he cannot possibly defeat the white man with the white man education. So again, he failed in his attempt to defeat the devil. Then we have the younger brother, Tijan. Now, Tijan surprised them all. Tijan was not as strong, wasn't as smart as the older brother, but what Tijan did was his ability to use people's advice and to communicate with people to conclude by defeating the devil. Right? So, what happened at the end? Tijan followed the advice of his mother, he prayed as well, and he defeated the devil because he was patient. You have to know the quality. Know the quality that led to the defeat of the devil or the quality that led to them not defeating the devil. Think about the book smart in Mijan's case, the physical strength in Grosjean's case, and you get an idea of now patience is what made Tijan do what he did. Then we have The Tempest. Well, we know The Tempest is a beautiful romance story of Ferdinand and Miranda. Yes, that's one story ongoing there. But the book surrounds the Prospero character. Prospero is this person who was put out of his kingdom by his evil brother, and now he has a chance to avenge that wrong he was done. when the ship that had his brother in it crashed on the island he was staying. What was the source of Prospero's strength? The law books. The law books were the source, not the law books, the magic books were the source of the strength. And when those magic books were destroyed, it signaled the end of that Prospero's strength, right? Or the end of Shakespeare's career, right? Remember, I talked about that in the video I did on The Tempest. If you want to recap that, go ahead and recap that. I'm trying to give you a run through as to what we need to remember about these books. Believe it or not, students use poems to answer short story questions. It happens every year, every single year. You cannot do that. Do not answer the short story questions with poems. You can only use short stories to answer those. So in the prose section, you're answering one question. You either answer the question comparing two short stories, or you answer the question in To Kill a Mockingbird, or you answer the question on Breath, Eyes, and Memory. Whichever you choose to do, you're answering only one question. And when you answer that one question, you should try to do it in 40 minutes. So you give yourself enough time to go back and read through your entire paper. Try and correct misspellings, try and correct your grammar, try and put your punctuation marks in place so that you get the most out of your essays. It was great working with you. I know you were very nervous, but as well, you're very proud of yourself for all that you've accomplished so far. So spend some time, recap, reflect, look at where you've come from, and realize that you've met a great, great distance, and you just have to keep pressing forward. It was great working with you. Good luck.